Hello everyone, this is part 7 of What If Naruto fused with the Kyuubi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Sasuke ducked under one of the swords Kyuubi was using, only to get kneed in the face. He fell back, even as Suigetsu rushed past, swinging Zabuza's guillotine sword. They had tracked the Hachibi down, and were now fighting to subdue him. But it was proving very difficult, as the man was able to fight with 8 swords at once. Sasuke got back to his feet, as Suigetsu was blocked. Suddenly, a bolt of electricity streamed down the blade, and shocked Suigetsu, knocking him back. Sasuke, with his Sharingan straining to find a weakness, rushed forward, Juugo beside him with partial demon transformation. The two struck, but Kyuubi easily blocked them, and knocked him aside. Auto FN, I'm no rapper, or rhymer, so Kyuubi will be talking normally. Sorry. You guys are supposed to be Akatsuki. This is pretty pathetic if you ask me. Auto FN, maybe I can rhyme a little. Karen rushed over to Sasuke, screaming in pure fangirl, Sasuke-kun. Suigetsu sat up muttering, oh sure, help him. Sasuke brushed Karen aside, and pulled out his katana. Unlike normally ones, this katana was straight-bladed, and had no crossguard. It was easier to conceal, but this also meant the hand had no protection from a blade sliding down and slashing his hand. He charged forward, his blade crashing against one of B's baldes. Another was brought around, only to be blocked by Suigetsu, while Juugo attacked with a large demonic fist. The Jinchuriki jumped back, causing the two sword wielders to stumble, and Juugo's fist sailed harmlessly past his face. That's better. A little bit of teamwork. Looks like I'll have to take this up a notch. Suddenly, demonic chakra started to pour out of him, while he shouted, Auto FN, what the freak? This is what I asked myself when I read this in the manga. The chakra formed into one tail behind him, while 2 massive horns appeared on his head. With more speed and fury, B attacked Team Taka. X. The Raikage was busy lifting weights, when a messenger came in, concerning his brother, the Jinchuriki Kyuubi. He dropped the weight, crushing the stand in front of him, and immediately began shouting orders. I want 3 teams of ninjas to get up there and help him. Someone contact Konoha, telling them that we are going to finish this business with Uchiha once and for all. And call a summit meeting of the 5 cages. We will not stand for what Akatsuki is doing. X. Within an hour, the messenger hawk from Kumo landed on the Hawk Tower in Konoha. The messenger was delivered to Tsunade, who started yelling out orders of her own. Shizune, send a message to Naruto, and to all the teams. Tell them they are to head north to Kumo at once, and lend assistance in protecting their Jinchuriki. Let them know that the Akatsuki members involved include Sasuke. Then our fastest messenger hawk to Kumo, telling them we are lending assistance, and will deal with Sasuke. Go. Shizune sent Anbu to all corners of Konoha, to call upon the Rookie 11, and their senseis. Less than 10 minutes later, a messenger hawk flew over the north gate, where Naruto, Hinata, and Team Kakashi waited impatiently. Already, Naruto was extremely agitated, and his eyes kept flickering between blue and red. Hinata reached out, and grabbed his arm gently. Naruto-kun, please, they will get here. Just be patient. I know. But this is really important. Not only is Sasuke out there, but someone like me is in trouble. I need to help him. Hinata stood up, and hugged him. We will, don't worry. Suddenly, there was a shout, as Team Guy came rushing up. Guy and Lee kept running in place, while Neji and Tenten were panting. Within minutes, the rest of Team Kurenai, and Team Asuma joined them. Kakashi nodded. You all know the mission, so let's go. Keep your guard up, and remember. Sasuke was a member of this village, but he won't hesitate to kill you. All of your survival is more important than his. Understand? As they all nodded, Naruto led the way out of the gate, and into the trees. X. Sasuke leapt back, avoiding the giant, crashing tentacle. Their fight with Kyuubi had intensified even more. The Jinchuriki had unleashed the Biju in him, turning into a giant ox with 8 octopus tentacles. Sugetsu had tried to hold him back with a giant wave of water, only to be reduced to a puddle. Juugo had been forced to heal him, reverting to a child form in doing so. And Karen had been knocked out by the wave of chakra that had been unleashed, overloading her chakra sensory jutsu. Now, he was fighting on his own. In a way, he preferred it this way. Sasuke leapt back again, constraining his chakra into his eyes. When he opened them, his atom burst-shaped Mangekyo Sharingan was activated. With one burst of chakra, he shouted, Amaterasu. A burst of unholy black fire rushed out of his eye, and covered the giant Biju. It screamed out in pain, trying to put out the fire by diving into the water around it. But to no avail. After several minutes, Sasuke managed to put the flames out, revealing a very badly burned Kyuubi, who lay unconscious. Sasuke slowly approached him, removing his cloak. He wrapped Kyuubi in it, and turned to Juugo, who was carrying Karen over his shoulder, and Sugetsu under his arm. Sasuke nodded. Let's go. They didn't notice the 3 teams of Kumo ninja following them. Naruto glanced back at the fellow Konoha ninjas behind him. So far, Hinata, Guy, and Lee were keeping pace, while the others were starting to tire out. Naruto slowed down enough to make it easier, but they were still going fast, even for shinobi standards. Hinata came up next to him. Naruto-kun, are you that worried? Naruto sighed. It's just. I promised Sakura Imuoto I would do this. I would bring Sasuke back. Every day I don't complete this promise, I feel like I'm betraying my Nindo. I need to do this, or I might start questioning everything I know, everything I am. Hinata nodded. I understand and I will help you. Naruto smiled at her. Thanks. I can't wait to see the look on his face though. Last time we fought, I was a human. Now he is going to face a Hanyu. 2 of them in fact. His smile dropped. Hinata-chan, if you start getting overwhelmed, promise me you will back off. I don't want to lose you. Hinata slowly nodded. I promise. Naruto smiled, as he looked ahead again. In the distance, he could see the Kumo border. Sasuke, I'm coming for you. Sasuke wearily dumped the body before Madara, who was sitting with his back against the wall. I've completed my part. Now if you will excuse us. Sasuke and Juugo turned to leave. Where are you going? Sasuke turned his head to look back at Madara. To heal our wounds, and then, to Konoha. Then they were gone. Madara sighed. Things may be tougher than you think, Sasuke. The rumors I feared are true, and Naruto is more than he appears to be. Naruto and the others slowly approached Kumogakur no Sato. It had been 2.5 days since they had left Konoha. Now, they were deep in the territory of a country that had recently tried to conquer them. Naruto couldn't help but feel many glares at him, as he was recognized by the Fox Knight. He slowly gripped Hinata's hand, and she squeezed it back, giving him comfort. They were led by a guide to outside Raikage's mansion. Kumo had been built in a range of mountains, so some of the buildings were just stuck on the sides of rock faces. The mansion was one of them. There, they were met by none other than the Raikage himself. Naruto silently swore in amazement at the size of this guy, and the muscles under his open robe. The Raikage nodded his neutrally at all of them, until he saw Naruto. His eyes narrowed dangerously. What is he doing here? Kakashi held his hands up peacefully. He is a ninja of Konoha, and is essential to our capturing or neutralizing Sasuke Uchiha. He is an S-ranked enemy of Kumo. Under different circumstances, he wouldn't have passed our border alive. Naruto gently pulled away from Hinata, and stood before the Raikage. He bowed his head under his cloak. Raikage, I offer my condolences to those who I cared. But my actions were in defense of my home, and those I care about. I have no ill will to you or your country, but I did what I needed to do. Surely you can understand that. The Raikage looked at him, and shrugged. I guess I can. And seeing you here does prove your good intentions. Alright, I'll accept you for now. Just don't try any funny business. Naruto nodded and stepped back, bowing. The Raikage bowed his head, then took a folder from his assistant, and handed it to Kakashi. We tracked the Akatsuki to a ruin in the middle of a lake. Our ninja tried their own rescue, but failed. While only a few managed to escape. I would suggest being very careful. From what we've heard, Sasuke Uchiha has a very powerful dojutsu. Kakashi nodded, and turned to the others. Konoha, let's move out. The ninjas immediately jumped off, heading the direction of the ruined castle. The Raikage turned to his assistant. Gather another force. I want to be ready in case they fail. Sasuke shut the door of his room, and slowly headed to the mirror, a look of slight fear on his face. During his discussion with the others, he had spilled a glass of water, because he couldn't see it properly. His eyes were going fuzzy, which made Sasuke fear he was suffering a similar fate as Itachi. Was going blind, the more he used the Mangekyo. It wasn't fair. How was he supposed to destroy Konoha without it? Sasuke sighed, as he laid back on his bed. Maybe it was just fatigue. That battle with the Kumo ninja had tired him out. Maybe he just needed to rest. Sasuke nodded to himself, and slowly fell asleep. Sasuke found himself standing on an open plain. In front of him, he saw a cloaked figure approach. This figure wore a dull red cloak, with a hood pulled up over his head, and an armored face mask covering the lower part of its face. The mask looked like a snarling fox muzzle. Suddenly, the figure stopped, and looked up. His eyes were red, with a strange black starburst for pupils. Suddenly, Sasuke couldn't move at all. He found himself walking towards the figure, even as he ordered himself to stop. The cloaked figure slowly unsheathed metal claw blades from under his cloak. Sasuke stopped only a foot away. Who are you? You don't recognize your old teammate. Sasuke team, I'm crushed. The figure slowly lowered his face mask, revealing the face of Naruto Uzumaki. What is this? You can't be Naruto. He doesn't have a dojutsu. Oh. But I do, and it's all thanks to you. I'm coming, so be prepared. We're going to finish this, once and for all. Sasuke awoke with a start, sweating heavily. He looked around the room, comforting himself that he was where he was supposed to be, and that the dream was just that, a dream. Sasuke slowly stood up, and shook his head. That wasn't Naruto. Naruto is not like that. It was just a dream. Get a hold of yourself. He went to the bathroom, and had poured himself a glass of water, when there was a frantic pounding on his door. He went to open it, to find Karen, who looked scared. Karen, what is it? I just sensed something. Two somethings. Very powerful, and heading this way. Sasuke looked at her, and whispered. Are you sure? Karen nodded. Yes, they are both almost the exact same, and they have more power than Kyuubi did. Sasuke looked at her for a moment, and then grabbed his cloak, and rushed past her. He headed to the highest point on the ruined castle, and scanned the area. After several minutes, he felt what Karen had described. But he recognized it. Kyuubi. But how are there two of them? That would mean Kyuubi was divided somehow. Sasuke kept his position, until he eventually saw small leaping figures. He crouched down, pulling out a pair of binoculars. He scanned the figures, only to stop at the sight of a figure in a dull red cloak. His heart suddenly plummeted. Naruto, he whispered. He quickly left his spot, and rushed back down. In the hall instead the entrance, he found the others of Team Taka. Sugetsu had finally regained his form, but was still woozy. Juugo was still a little kid, and Sasuke wasn't 100% better either. This wouldn't be good. Naruto stood with the others on the water surrounding the island the ruined castle stood on. He slowly looked it over, as Hinata scanned the building with her eyes. She stopped as she concentrated on one area. I think I see him. There is an unusual chakra signature several floors above. It's pretty low right now. Her eyes lowered themselves to the floor level. There are 4 more people on the other side of the entrance. One of them is Sasuke. Naruto nodded, as did the others. Kakashi turned to Shikamaru, who glanced at the structure. The genius nodded. I think the least troublesome plan would be for teams Kurenai and Asuma to retrieve the Jinchuriki. We'll need a distraction. Kakashi nodded. Naruto, distraction please. Naruto smiled. Of course. It's what I do best. Naruto made a shadow clone, which immediately held out his right hand, and formed a Rasengan. As teams Kurenai and Asuma left, with Hinata giving Naruto a, be careful, look, the shadow clone rushed forward, and drove his Rasengan into the reinforced doors. They blew open like tissue paper. Sasuke and the others jumped back, as the door blew open. As the smoke cleared, they stared at the cloaked figure standing there. Sasuke recognized it in an instant, and threw several kunai at Naruto. They impacted, and he dissipated into smoke. The real Naruto stiffened, and held up a hand for everyone to hold back. He turned to them. They're split up. One has Zabuza's sword. Another has demon growth similar to Sasuke's curse mark. There is a girl with nothing special that I could see. We should divide up to face them. He immediately began pointing out the teams. Neji, Sakura, take the girl. Sai, and Tenten, the sword guy. Kakashi, Guy, you should deal with the demon boy. Me and Lee will take Sasuke. Kakashi looked at Naruto. I understand you. But shouldn't me or Guy help you? Naruto shook his head. That demon boy will have a lot more power than Sasuke. Me and Lee can handle him. Trust me. Kakashi slowly nodded, and so did the others. Naruto turned, activating his Kitsunegan to the first level. Let's rock. They dashed in, pairing off to fight their respective targets. Tenten immediately swung her flail attached to a Karma axe at Sugetsu, making him dodge back. Sakura swung a chakra-enhanced punch at Karen, who barely ducked out of the way, only to be hit by a Juken strike from Neji. Guy used his dynamic entry kick, which missed because of Juugo's small size. But Sasuke just stood there, staring at the figure in front of him. Naruto had unsheathed his claws, just like in his dream. Hello, team. Miss me. What are you? Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the Hanyu Fox Knight of Konoha. And I'm going to be dragging your ass back there. With a roar, Naruto leapt at Sasuke, who drew his sword. Several floors above, Kurenai and Asuma had finished checking over Kyuubi, while the others formed a perimeter around them. Hinata was watching the fight below, and when she saw Naruto charge Sasuke, she nodded her head. I'm going to help them. Before anyone could stop her, she was gone, her cloak and tail disappearing around a corner. Kurenai sighed. She is becoming a handful. Asuma just took a drag on his cigarette. Nothing we can do now. Let's get this guy to the rakeage. The others nodded, and headed out of the building. Kurenai turned to look where the Hyuga Hanyu had disappeared. Be careful, Hinata. Sasuke ducked under Naruto's slash at the side of his head. He was about to punch back, when a green blur crossed his vision, followed by pain exploding alongside his head. He was flung back, as Lee got back into position from his leaf whirlwind. He stared straight at Sasuke. I cannot believe I ever wanted to fight you. I thought you to be a genius like Neji. Instead, you are nothing but a coward and a traitor. Naruto is far more a genius than you will ever be. Sasuke got up, his eyes red as he activated his Sharingan. We'll see about that. Sasuke rushed forward, drawing his sword. But he noticed that Lee's eyes had shifted to his feet. For 1 second, he actually looked down, only to have Naruto's knee knock him flying back. Karen found herself in serious trouble. So far, she had managed to dodge the pin-haired Kunoichi's attacks, which were consisting of superhuman strength punches. But the Hyuga was another matter. He was just as fast as her, if not faster, and his Juken strikes were messing up her chakra network. She didn't know what to do. All of her abilities were in healing, and sensing chakra. She couldn't fight. She somehow managed to duck under the next Juken blow, only to find a black-booted FFOT coming at her face. Sakura's kick knocked through the wall behind her, and the two after that. When the dust finally cleared, Neji and Sakura saw Karen lying in the rubble of 3 walls, completely unconscious. They looked at each other. That was no fun. Indeed. I didn't get to use any jutsus. Neji almost seemed disappointed. Sugetsu was enjoying his fight. The girl with the large scroll and bun hairstyle was obviously scared in weapons. Even now, she was twirling that flail around, and swinging it back at him. He moved his sword, so the flail swung right into the hole farther up the blade, then yanked back as it swung around the blade. He yanked the weapon from her grasp, and flung it away, as she pulled out a heavy metal staff. Suddenly, he found himself surrounded by ink snakes, which reared up to strike at him. He jumped back, staring at the pale-skinned ninja who was busy painting more images on his scroll. A pack of Chinese-style lions leapt from the scroll, and flew at Sugetsu, roaring. He swung his sword, destroying them, only to earn the butt of Tenten's staff in his gut. He fell back a couple steps, doubled over, when the staff swung around again. This time, he was prepared, and phased into water where the staff struck. It passed through him, and he swung his sword around, only for it to be blocked by a short sword and kunai held in an X formation. Sai struggled to hold the heavier blade, while Tenten recovered, and struck out again. Her staff passed through Sugetsu's hands, causing him to drop his sword. Sai immediately threw the kunai with a tag on it. It entered Sugetsu, and was trapped there. The water Akatsuki member smiled. Did you think an explosive tag would work? Sai merely smiled his weird little smile. Who said it was explosive? Sugetsu looked down in time to see his body begin to freeze, before he became an ice statue. Sai continued to smile, as he turned to Tenten. Remind me to thank Kage-san for those new tags. They are quite effective. Guy and Kakashi were having an interesting time. At first glance, their enemy looked like a kid, no older than their genin when they first got them. All that changed when several growths appeared on him, turning him into a half-human, half-demon-looking creature. They both realized, yet again, that looks could be deceiving. Guy immediately flew at him with a kick, only to be hit by a blast of wind from one of Juugo's arms. Suddenly several kunai struck the arm, causing Juugo to turn in time to see Kakashi charging, his hands in a hand sign. Water style, Water Dragon Jutsu. A giant dragon of water arose, and roared, before flying at Jugoi. The demon boy jumped back, narrowly avoiding the attack. Unfortunately for him, Guy hit him at that moment, causing him to enter a wall. He turned back to Guy, his eyes wide now in bloodlust. I'm going to KU, and enjoy every minute of it. Juugo rushed forward, so intent on Guy, that he didn't notice Kakashi pulling out a seal. Guy, keep him distracted for a few minutes. YOSH, my eternal rival. I'll keep him busy. Guy immediately opened the first 4 gates, and his face became red, as the veins in his muscles stood out. He moved with blinding speed, sing another fist into Juugo's face. The demon boy FSED into the wall again, then Guy pinned him against the wall. Kakashi appeared, slapping a chakra repressing seal onto Juugo's forehead. Within seconds, the demonic parts receded, and Juugo slumped to the ground, once again a little boy. Kakashi tied him up, while Guy returned to his normal self. They both turned to watch their pupils fighting. Sasuke is strong, but I think Naruto is even better, especially with my star pupil helping him. Kakashi only nodded, as he watched the 3 of them fighting. He felt horrible, because he knew that during his time as their sensei, he had betrayed 2 of his pupils. Naruto, Sakura. I wasn't a good teacher, was I? I only concentrated on Sasuke, making him better. I should have taught each of you 2 something as well. But now, it's too late. Sakura, you were trained by Tsunade-sama. And Naruto, you've undergone training that I could never give you. I failed. Kakashi-sensei, don't think that. Kakashi turned in surprise to see Hinata, her Dokashogun activated. She smiled at him. Maybe you didn't teach Naruto how to fight, or any fancy jutsus, but you taught him something very important. Teamwork. Kakashi merely nodded, as the fight continued. Naruto ducked under Sasuke's chokuto, before slashing back with his katana. Sasuke backed up, and the sword passed within inches of his chest and face. Where did you learn all this? How can you be that dobe I beat at the Valley of the End? Naruto smiled behind his mask. The fight with Sasuke had been tough. He had tried to use the Kitsunegan, only to find it was being blocked by Sasuke's Sharingan. The same held true for Sasuke. So the fight came down to their SKS, which Naruto preferred. It showed how inadequate Sasuke was without the Sharingan, or the curse mark. I have you to thank for this. If you hadn't suppressed Kyuubi the last time we met, it wouldn't have triggered my Merega with him. After that, I trained with a former Junin of Azu, and I learned from Kyuubi as well. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that my real name is Naruto Namikaze. You know who Namikaze was, right? Sasuke just looked at Naruto in surprise, until Lee's fist connected with his face. Sasuke flipped back, performing hand signs. Reikiri. Sasuke became surrounded by lightning, which lashed out at Lee. The taijutsu expert dodged, but was still grazed by the lightning. It acted like a taser blast to his nervous system, temporarily paralyzing him. Sasuke turned back to Naruto, who was ending his own handsings. Grass style, water lily entrapment. Several water lilies broke through the floor, the dangling vines wrapping around Sasuke. Naruto smiled as he approached. My dad was the Yondaime of Konoha. When that was revealed, I got access to everything he, and my family, ever created. I've trained in the styles and arts of Azu, Kyuubi, and Namikaze. I'm not the same Barker you faced all those years ago. Suddenly, lightning L through the vines, freeing Sasuke. With a lunge, he managed to punch Naruto, sending him flying. Naruto barely landed on his feet, as Sasuke rushed forward. That doesn't mean you are stronger than me. Now s. Before Sasuke could reach Naruto, he felt several strikes to his legs, and they became numb. He fell over, as several more strikes connected with his arms. Sasuke found himself paralyzed, and cursed under his breath. Suddenly, he was rolled over, and found himself looking into the smiling faces of Naruto, and Hinata. Naruto leaned over and kissed Hinata's cheek, before smirking down at Sasuke. Hey, team. Did you meet my girlfriend? Then Naruto connected with a right hook, knocking Sasuke out. Naruto sighed, as he bent down, and tied Sasuke up. He turned to Hinata, and hugged her. Not that I'm ungrateful for the assist, but, weren't you supposed to be helping the others save the Jinchuriki? Hinata just shrugged. We got him out okay, and I thought you could use my help here. Naruto just smiled. You thought right. Sakura had come over, and was kneeling next to Lee. She finished checking him over, and stood up. He's all right. Just temporarily paralyzed. He should be able to move in an hour or so. Neji, Sai, and Guy each were carrying one of Sasuke's teammates. Kakashi took it upon himself to carry Sasuke. Sakura came over to Naruto. You did it. You brought Sasuke back. Naruto nodded. Isn't this what you wanted, Imuoto? Sakura shook her head. I don't know anymore. I really don't know. No. Naruto hugged, and said. Don't worry about it. Everything will work out. Sakura nodded, and smiled. Thanks. I needed that. Kakashi smiled. All right. It's time to get going. With that, the assault team of Konoha shinobi left the castle. Several minutes later, it collapsed in on itself. The Raikage stood next to the hospital bed, where his brother lay. The burns were already being mended, by both the Hachibi and by his own personal doctors. The Raikage sighed in relief. It had been hard enough losing Yugito, who he had thought of as a little sister. But losing his own kin, that would be too much. He silently thanked the Konoha shinobi, as he had done when the first half had returned with Kyuubi. An attendant quietly came in, and approached the towering figure. Raikage-sama, the rest of the Konoha shinobi have returned. One of them wished to make sure that Kyuubi was all right. The Raikage turned. Which one? The blonde one in the cloak. I think they called him Naruto. We know him as the Fox Knight. The Raikage nodded. Bring him here. The attendant left, only to come back several minutes later with Naruto in tow. He still had his cloak hood up, which made the Raikage wonder what he looked like underneath. The attendant left, while Naruto stared at Kyuubi. How is he? Alive. He should recover. I'm interested in why you care so much. Naruto turned to the Raikage. What I'm going to tell you can't leave this room. Please. As the Raikage nodded, Naruto lowered his hood, revealing his kitsune ears. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi. The Raikage backed up slightly, as he realized what Naruto was. You're a Jinchuriki, and a Hanyu. Naruto nodded. I don't know what life your Jinchuriki led, but mine was a living hell, as was the life of Gaara Nozabuka, of Suna. When we finally ran across each other, I realized I was alone. After that, I made promise to look after every Jinchuriki I came across. That's why I'm concerned for him. The Raikage looked at the boy. You must have had a hard life. I heard about how Gaara was treated. He elaborated when I met him after he became Kazekage. As Naruto nodded, the Raikage came forward. I wish to thank you for saving him. You see, he is my brother. Naruto looked at him in amazement. The Raikage nodded. Even without saving him, after what you said, I was willing to let the past be the past. But knowing your life, and seeing what you have done for me, then I wish to promise you this. At the Cage Summit meeting, I will propose an alliance between our two villages. And I will extend my own protection to you, if you wish it. Naruto smiled. I thank you for your offer. If I have need, I will call for you. And I hope you will do the same. The Raikage pulled Naruto into a bone-crushing hug, then shoved him away. Now go on. Get back to that village, and deal with that Uchiha for me. Naruto smiled. I will. He pulled his cloak hood up, bowed to the Raikage, and left. He joined up with the others, who were waiting outside the hospital. Kurenai glanced at him. Well, the Jinchuriki is fine, and if everything goes well, I don't think we will ever really have to worry about Kumo again. Kakashi nodded, reading his favorite book. Well, let's get going. I've heard Jiraiya came out with the next Ika Ika book. Naruto nearly face-planted, but regained his composure. Kakashi-sensei, why don't you just get a real girlfriend, and do that kind of stuff with her? The others laughed, as Kakashi and Naruto argued. Tsunade smiled as she read the message from Kumo. In front of her, Homura, Koharu, and Danzu waited. Good news. The mission was a complete success. The Hachibi Jinchuriki was rescued, and Sasuke Uchiha was captured. They are bringing him, and his Akatsuki accomplices back. The elders nodded. This is very good. We are glad the Uchiha is being brought back. Tsunade raised an eyebrow. And why is that? Homura smiled. So he can start rebuilding the Uchiha clan, of course. We even already have a wife in mind for him. Tsunade looked at them like they were crazy. Who? At the gate, the Chunin at the guard post heard a very loud and angry whaat come from the Hokage tower. They both looked at each other. That can't be good. Madara stared at the ruin that had been Team Taka's hideaway. He had left 2 days ago to check on operations taking place elsewhere. Now, he returned to find his new pupil gone, as well as the Jinchuriki. Namikaze, I sense your hand in this. You are strong, but I doubt you can deal with pain. I will promise you this. You will pay for what you have done. The Uchiha disappeared, returning to his own secret hideaway. Pain, his 5B sat in a clearing. They had been scouring the land of fire for a clue on Naruto's whereabouts. Conan appeared in the center of the clearing. I've found him. He's traveling with a large group back to Konoha. They have captured Sasuke Uchiha, and the rest of Team Taka. Pain sighed. This is not good. As strong as I am, I dare not attack him with a group larger than 5 people. We must wait to attack, when he is outside the village, and alone, or with a small team. Suddenly, a half-plant, half-man emerged from one of the nearby trees. The man's face and shoulders were divided into white on one side, and black on the other. He bowed to Pain. Madara has called us all back. He says we need to regroup, before recovering what we have lost. Pain merely nodded, and turned to Conan. Let's go. The 8 of them disappeared, heading back to Am. 2 days later, the Konoha shinobi had returned home. Karen had reawakened the day before, and was busy doing her best to escape, and curse at her captors. Sugetsu was still a ice statue, and Sasuke had a seal on him, keeping him unconscious. Juugo was being carried on Guy's back, still restrained, but looking around in interest. He had awakened first, just after they had crossed the border. Flashback. Juugo slowly stirred, and opened his eyes. He found himself tied to a tree, with Sasuke and Karen nearby. Sugetsu was propped up near them. Juugo immediately tried to access his powers, but couldn't. I wouldn't try that. There's a seal repressing your powers. If you try too hard, it will knock you, quite painfully. Juugo looked up, to see the cloaked figure that had fought Sasuke. The figure came over, lowered the armored face mask, revealing whisker marks on his cheeks. He placed a plate of food nearby, and slowly untied Juugo. Juugo reached out, and began eating. He looked back at the figure, who sat down, and lowered his cloak hood, revealing 2 golden kitsune ears. Juugo nearly choked. What are those? These. My ears. I guess I should explain. I'm Naruto, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Juugo's eyes widened. Naruto merely smiled. Don't worry. You don't have to be afraid of me. I'm not. I'm just surprised. I thought all you Jinchurikis were crazy with bloodlust. Naruto shook his head. Some are. Gaara of Suna was, until I set him straight. Juugo went back to eating. I'm kinda like that. Really? How? It's my blood. I have this thing in my blood. Makes me crazy, and want to kill people. Naruto moved closer. What happened? I heard about Orochimaru, and he said he could help me. Then he locked me up, and performed experiments. He used my blood to make his curse seal. Naruto nodded. Well, that explains a few things. Why are you hanging with Sasuke? I would have thought he would try to kill you. Juugo looked at Naruto. He gave me a purpose. I owe him my life. Naruto was suddenly struck by deja vu. This boy was like himself, and Gaara. He felt like he had no purpose, until someone gave him one. Naruto gave the boy a sad smile. I know what that is like. To feel alone, and worthless. Juugo nodded. Sasuke helps me keep my bloodlust in check. I would be a monster without him. Then he looked away in sadness. I guess I failed him. Naruto shook his head. I met a ninja like you. He felt that he had no purpose, until someone came and saved him. He was willing to give his life, to protect the one he served, even if that person was evil. Naruto leaned closer. If you want, I can give you a purpose. One that is noble and true. A purpose worth S4. Juugo looked up. Why would you help me? Because the two of us are the same. I couldn't help that ninja I spoke of. But I can help you. Flashback ends. Juugo looked at Naruto and for perhaps the 100th time, wondered if what he had said was true. Maybe he can help me. Maybe I can be something good, someone who is worth the life I have. Suddenly, an Anbu appeared in front of Naruto. Namikaze-san. You and Hinata-san are to report to the Hokage immediately. Everyone else will wait at the Anbu headquarters. Naruto looked at Hinata, who shrugged back. He took her hand, and the two disappeared in a flash of yellow. They reappeared outside the Hokage Tower, which also had been given a Hiraishin seal. Naruto had placed them throughout key parts of the village, allowing him to reach any spot in an instant. He and Hinata headed up to the Hokage's office, and entered. The elders and Danzu were waiting, with a very pissed-looking Tsunade. Naruto and Hinata bowed. Hey Ne-chan, what's going on? Tsunade barely ground out an answer. The council, in all its infinite wisdom, wished to pardon Sasuke Uchiha, and have him begin rebuilding the Uchiha clan. They have also decided on his bride. Naruto glanced at the three old people in front of him. Who? Tsunade sighed in frustration, anger, and sadness. Hinata Hyuga. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.